The latter seasons of How I Met Your Mother have always been a bit iffy with fans. While season 9 is definitely the more controversial of the two, season 8 has its fair share of criticism as well. However, there are some fans who absolutely love it. And for me personally, I'll let you know at the end of the video. You know, to build suspense and whatnot. Hello everyone, this is the Glass Half Full. And today, we're reviewing season 8 of How I Met Your Mother. If you don't know how this works already, basically I review every single episode of the season in a very short amount of time, and afterwards I review the season and the important parts as a whole. So get your pencil, get your notebook, and today our food choice is a singular bagel. Not even a full one, just a half one. Guys, I'm actually running out of food. Which is another reason why you should subscribe. Alright. With that out of the way, let's get started.
Lebenslange Schiedsrichterschutz is not something that develops over time. It is something that happens instantaneously.
Season 8, Episode 1, Farhampton. This season's premiere picks up right after last time, where Ted helps Victoria leave her own wedding. It still feels kind of weird that Ted's doing this in the first place, just because of the fact that he knows how it feels to be left at the altar, and instead of this being some intense, serious plot, he kind of just like treats it as a joke. Which kind of checks out, because Klaus, Victoria's fiance, is actually doing the exact same thing. This is a pretty well paced and funny episode. But the end of the episode is what really matters. Klaus gives an amazing speech about... Yeah, I'm not going to try pronouncing that. And we finally know where Ted and the mother are going to meet. It's on a train in Farhampton. And all we need to know now is when it's going to happen and who the mother is. Same old. Great season premiere and sets up future plot points very well. One thing I want to say is Barney reviews the whole series up to this point in under a minute. And does a lot faster and funnier than I do. Why am I doing this again? Season 8, Episode 2, The Prenup. Barney and Quid's trust issues come full circle as they decide to make a prenup before they get married, which ultimately makes them break up by the end of the episode. When they got together, it was evident that they were a lot alike, which was a good and a bad thing because they were known for lying and being untrustworthy. So no matter how much they liked each other, it would never really work out due to their past. Yeah, this was expected, but damn, they're only engaged for like an episode. It's weird they pulled the plug so quickly, huh? I give this episode a good. Season 8, Episode 3, Nannies. So, Mickey randomly comes back to live with Marshall and Lily. He offers to start taking care of Marvin when Lily and Marshall are busy to make up how shitty of a father he was to Lily all those years ago. This is honestly pretty cool, and makes up for how hit and miss Mickey was in the past seasons. But it's also obvious they wrote him back into the story, so Lily and Marshall have an excuse to be out with the gang more. Classic episode with a sweet ending. I give it a great. Season 8, Episode 4, Who Wants to Be a Godparent? Man, I love when sitcoms do these game show-like episodes. And this one was really fun, and we got to see how Robin, Ted, and Barney act like in parental roles. Plus, it was nice seeing Marshall and Lily become more involved in the gang's lives again, despite having to be parents as well. I give this episode a great. Season 8, Episode 5, The Autumn of Breakups. We get to witness Ted propose for a second time in the series as he asks Victoria to marry him. And she says yes, only if Ted stops being friends with Robin. Now this is a very tricky situation, but I love it, and it makes complete sense. This is not an issue where one side is in the complete right, but instead, both sides have very good points. Obviously, Victoria can't just let go of the fact that Ted cheated on her before with Robin, even if it's been over 7 years. But during that 7 years, Ted has only gotten close with Robin to the point where they lived with each other for a long time. And Ted can't just simply brush that away like it never happened. So I don't blame Ted at all for staying friends with Robin. And in some cases, it might have been good that Ted and Victoria broke up. But I'll get to that later. Overall, great episode. very high stakes and had a good execution. Oh, and this episode's a great example of how the show never forgets past events of earlier season, and a future episode reiterates that fact even more. Season 8, Episode 6, Splitsville. Robin sadly and tragically breaks up with Nick. Who's Nick, you might ask? I have no fucking clue. I don't care about him. You don't care about him. This episode's lame. Moving on. Season 8, Episode 7, The Stamp Tramp. Marshall actually runs to Brad, who has an amazing beard, by the way, and invites him to be on his next case, only to find out that he's working for the other side. After Brad's actions from this episode, me and the jury have concluded that he must no longer be part of the Awesome Zone. I'm sorry. Season 8, Episode 8, 12 Horny Woman. This episode is narrated and revolved around Marshall and his court case. It's nice seeing Marshall's journey to become a lawyer finally pay off in the end with him winning the court case. That's what makes it all the more sadder when in the end Marshall realizes that being a lawyer is more complicated than just winning the case. The show kind of steps back on the whole sitcom tropes and delves into the reality of law. That's when Brad, of all people, inspires Marshall one more time and tells him he should be a judge instead, because they can call the real shots to make a difference. Good on you, Brad. Season 8, Episode 9, Lobster Crawl. After Barney gets tired of one-night stands, again, he starts dating Patrice, which makes Robin really jealous. I give this episode a good. Season 8, Episode 10, The Overcorrection. I honestly just really love the premise of this episode, and it has one of the funniest ongoing gags of any episode. Also, wow, seeing Barney actually burn the playbook with some major character development. The fact that he was so willing to burn the playbook with no second thought, and for Patrice no less. It really says something about how far he's come. I give this episode a great. Season 8, Episode 11, The Final Page, Part 1. It's a very special day for Ted, as the GMB building is finally finished. Obviously, since it's one of the more important days of his life, he wants the gang to be there. Until Ted finds out that Barney is actually going to propose to Patrice on the very same night. This is a pretty good episode as it is, but it is nothing compared to Season 8, Episode 12, The Final Page, Part 2. Before I start. Hello! Alright, let's continue. So yeah, this is one of the best episodes of the entire series. Like, literally from start to finish, it has your attention by Ted being a horrible secret keeper and telling the gang and letting Robin skip out on the most important day of his life to confess her feelings for Barney. And damn, Barney's ultimate play has got to be one of the most beautiful and most well thought out endings of not just the show, but in TV in general. Okay, that might be a stretch, but you get my point! I would like to eventually dedicate a whole video for this two-parter. I'll put that in the video idea pile. But for now, I'll praise it as much as I can. And again, Barney's play is so in line for his character, and I'll always get chills no matter what when he pops the question. And you know what? Props to fucking Patrice, keeping the secret for so long and helping someone she barely knows. You know what? I don't care if you don't agree with me. She deserves her own spot on the Awesome Zone. As legendary as this episode is, it's hard not feeling a little bit bad for Ted. What was supposed to be his night, gathered by his closest friends, ended up being one of his loneliest ones, as Robin and Barney are happily engaged and William Marshall share their own moment. He just looks off into the night, alone. Season 8, Episode 13, Band or DJ? Honestly, this episode catches me off guard a bit. Of course, we would get to see Ted struggle with the fact that Barney and Robin getting married, with him going as far as saying,
"It was like times a million."
But I never thought that Lily, of all people, would say that sometimes she wished she wasn't a mom. On paper, this sounds absolutely horrible, but I could definitely see why she would say that. Obviously, already being a kindergarten teacher, she comes home to more kids, and that can be a lot. And the fact she never got to complete her dreams also suck. Kind of a sad episode with no real uplifting ending, but that's what makes these kind of episodes so special. I give this episode a great. Season 8, Episode 14, Ring Up. So, also a weird episode. Not only does Ted hook up with a 20-year-old, but it also happens to be Barney's half-sister. Man, there's a lot of weird family stuff in this show. Ugh, yeah. Lame episode. Season 8, Episode 15. P.S. I love you. Ted starts dating one of the worst characters I've ever seen in my entire existence. Jeannette. And even though no one likes her whatsoever, he decides to continue dating her. Oh my god. Look, Ted has had some very low points, but to continue to date fucking Jeannette is probably the worst low he's ever had. Along with dating Karen. Karen. On the bright side, Robin Sparkles 4! Baby, let's go! Alright, so I was going to do this whole cover song thing I did for the other 2 songs Robin made, but while I was doing it, my mom caught me doing it, and I was wearing her eyeshadow. I don't know why I was even wearing it. I wore sunglasses in my videos, so now I just feel kind of embarrassed. Season 8, Episode 16, Bad Crazy. In this episode, we witness Jeannette be a horrible person by destroying Ted's stuff for no goddamn reason. Look, I know she was made to be disliked, but I still hate her. Lame episode. Moving on. Season 8, Episode 17, The Ashtray. The gang run into the captain again in an art exhibit where he takes a liking to Lily's art taste, which gives her the opportunity to become his art consultant. Not only, in my opinion, this is one of the funniest episodes in the entire series because of Drunk Robin and High Ted, but I love how a character that we thought we would never see ever again plays a huge but understandable role for Lily to realize her dreams once again. Because of course, he's rich, and what do rich people like to do? They like to buy art! Man, I love the continuity in the series. I give this episode a legendary. Season 8, Episode 18, Weekend at Barney's. I can't believe I'm saying this, but unironically, this is one of my least favorite episodes. It has funny gags and a good ending, but it has my least favorite character aggressions of the entire series. So it turns out that Barney still has the playbook and only burned a copy of it in episode 10. Robin was obviously pissed, but Barney eventually got on good terms with her again, and they eventually destroyed the real playbook by the end of the episode. It may not seem like a big deal, but then you realize that all the emotional beats of episode 10, God, you know what? The episode as a whole is completely destroyed, and makes this episode even worse by comparison. What makes Barney burning the playbook hit so hard was the manner he did it in. He didn't burn it because of a bet or a prank or someone convinced it to, but he did it on his own terms. It was also so quick and so seamless. Like he didn't give any second thought about burning it and wanted to be a man worthy of Robin's trust. That's what makes this scene so iconic. This one just pales in comparison with Robin just finding out and convincing Barney to burn it, which he doesn't even do himself by the end of the episode. Oh, and then there's Jeannette. And what does she do this time? She doesn't just destroy Ted's stuff, but she fucking burns it, including the red cowboy boots. Sure, they finally break up by the end of the episode. But come on, if you have an unlikable character, they're supposed to be dealt with karma eventually. But Jeannette gets off scot-free and never gets served justice, even though she's the worst character in this fucking show! Yeah. Safe to say I don't like this episode that much. Okay. Season 8, Episode 19, The Fortress. The floating Barney head was pretty cool. I give this episode a good. Season 8, Episode 20, The Time Travelers. Pretty fun but unimportant episode with Ted and Barney talking to their future selves. What a happy and enjoyable episode with no moment in particular that wants to make you bawl your eyes out for the next 24 hours. I give it an okay. Season 8, Episode 21, Rome World Bound. Alright, so Lily... Did you really think I was going to skip over that ending? That 4-minute and 15-second scene is what separates How I Met Your Mother from any other sitcom or TV show. That scene is one of the most iconic and rewatched scenes of the show, and most definitely one of the saddest. Those subtle hints that the episode is not truly what it looks like, and it all leads up to Barney stating the fact that Ted is alone. The chilling cold words from Barney when he says,
"You're all alone."
And as Ted reminisces of what looked like the worst days of his life, all of his best friends completely changed from years ago while he drinks alone at the bar they used to go to every single day. And of course, the part where he goes to the mother's house. His monologue of how he can't wait to meet her in 45 days, but can't keep waiting much longer, which might sound weird at first, but you realize why when you get to the end of the series. I really could go on. There's so many little things in this episode that make it so spectacular. But everyone who's watched this show knows how beautiful and heartbreaking this episode is, and why it's forever timeless. Legendary episode. Season 8, Episode 21, Rome World Bound. This episode's a bit of an odd one. We find out that Lily will get fired if she doesn't move to Rome with the captain for a year, which seems like it'll be a big thing because of Marshall and his job. Until we find out that Marshall hasn't been doing much job lately. This issue is mostly brushed off aside, which, damn, makes it kind of sad because Marshall tried so hard to get this job and it doesn't really pan out for him at the end, huh? I give this episode an okay. Season 8, Episode 22, The Bro Mitzvah. The perfect premise for this episode. I love how literally everything goes wrong for Barney. And they even brought Quinn back. Oh, and a Macho and Zabka appearance. I haven't watched the original Karate Kid, but this is so cool to see as well. I give this episode a great. The Season 8 finale. Something old and something new. We arrive once again to the big finale of the current season. A lot of stuff is packed into these 2 episodes, so I'll try my best to cover it all. So it seems the gang are almost at a new chapter of their lives once again, with the move to Rome and the wedding. So this kind of put Ted in an awkward spot because it seems like he's the only one that isn't moving on. Until Lily finds out that Ted is moving to Chicago. A random choice, but a sensible one. Ted has abandoned all hope of finding the one in New York. And his life is only going to get sadder as all his best friends are soon to be happily married. Meanwhile, Marshall is out visiting family when he gets a call from the jury from episode 8 and saying he got the job, which is great, but it ruins his plans to go to Rome. And even though Marshall is the most trustworthy and always puts his marriage with Lily first, he accepts the job without telling her, which ultimately sets up a very huge argument in the very near future. Now there's this other plot with Robin and her dad and the locket and Barney bonding with her dad. But what really makes this finale special, well, like all the other important episodes of the season, is the ending. First of all, phenomenal song choice. It really sets up the theme of moving on and waiting for things to come. As the scene pans to each character, it's hard not to get a little bit emotional. After following all these characters for the past 8 years, it's all culminating to a wedding that will change their lives forever. And so as the series started with a proposal, it's going to end with a wedding. It's almost time to see their journeys come to a close. And we end the season off with the reveal of who the owner of the yellow umbrella is.
I'm Ted Mosby. And exactly 45 days from now, you and I are gonna meet.
Alright, as you can tell from my episode reviews, you can tell there's episodes I really enjoyed and episodes I didn't enjoy. So by that logic, I'm mostly mixed about this season, right? Well, you're wrong. I absolutely love this season. I know, it sounds weird, but hear me out for a second. The lows of the season, like Bad Crazy or Weekend at Barney's, are pretty fucking low. But the highs of the season are so astronomically good that they completely overshadow the lows. Please, if anyone ever told you the show starts to fade near season 8, please show them episodes like The Ashtray or 12 Horny Women. Oh, is that not good enough? How about The Final Page or The Goddamn Time Travelers? 2 episodes which in my opinion are some of the best the series has to offer. These 24 episodes have some of the most iconic scenes and lines of the show, which make me kind of feel like season 8 is a bit underrated. And still, the amount of continuity and recurring characters that show up just brings a smile to my face. Man, it's gonna be really hard ranking all these seasons from worst to best, huh? Alright, it's time to give my thoughts about the character-specific arcs of this season. And again, there's a lot of it. So let's talk about our newly almost married couple, Robin and Barney. Now, getting back together felt inevitable after all the moments they shared over the past few seasons and the fact that they showed that they got back together in the future in season 6 and 7. It was obvious. But the way it played out was so beautifully put together. The fact that it was set up over a number of episodes and how Barney made the whole play in a fashion like he would write a play is so in line for his character. As perfect as this was, something always bothered me when Barney and Robin got back together, and it's how they immediately got engaged. Now sure, the moment wouldn't have been as good if Barney just said, hey, let's get back together, but it felt a bit odd. But then, I remember a quote from episode 5 which changes my complete viewpoint of this moment. The fact that they did before was more than enough for Barney to ask her to get married. And the final piece of the puzzle that makes this come full circle is the fact that Barney trusts Robin, unlike Quinn. Barney was afraid to love someone again due to his shady past, but Robin knows every single bad thing he's ever done, and still loves him. So that was more than enough for Barney to know that she was the one. Other than that, it was cool to see Robin's dad finally. After seeing how unforgiving and strict he was in those flashbacks, it was nice to finally see him try to form a relationship with his daughter, and Barney. And so, with that, we'll see how their relationship and marriage will develop next season. And speaking of relationships and marriages, Lily and Marshall have gone through some changes as well. And we finally get to see some much needed character progression for Lily. So, is it just me, or has Lily been sidelined for the past few seasons? Sure, she had Marvin, but that didn't really change her character at all. And sure, she also played a huge role in Marshall's dad's death, but again, that didn't revolve specifically around her. But in season 8, we did get a character arc that did involve just her. I've seen a lot of people talk bad about Lily, and about this moment specifically.
Sometimes I wish I wasn't a mom. Sometimes I want to pack a bag and leave in the middle of the night and not come back.
I already talked before about the whole taking care of kids 24/7 thing, but in relation to dreams, think about it. All her best friends got to achieve their biggest dream. For example, Marshall became an environmental lawyer until it didn't work out. Ted built a building. Robin became a big-time news reporter, and Barney has his thing. And Lily never had the time or got her dream shut down before. Eventually, she did get her dream job, albeit not actually painting, but something related to art. As for Marshall, his arc sort of opened his eyes to the reality of law. He thought that once he finally became an environmental lawyer, he can start saving the world. only to find out it's actually really hard to get a case, and once he does, he can only hope that the judge can truly press the charges. Like I said before, it's tough seeing Marshall come all this way just to not get what he wants in the end. So seeing him try to change career paths is a surprise, but a good one at that. Last thing I'll mention about Marshall and Lily is that I'm glad to see their stories change and grow at this point of the series. It seems like Marshall and Lily have gotten everything they ever wanted, so in the hands of lesser writers, it wouldn't be surprising to see them fade as the series continues. But nope, their stories are only getting more and more interesting, and now with the judge and the whole Rome plot, their stories will even continue later on. Alright, no beating around the bush. You'd be a liar if you didn't feel a little bit bad for Ted. Again. Alright, so earlier I stated that it might have been good that Ted broke up with Victoria. But I don't hate her, don't worry. If I were to rank all of Ted's girlfriends, she would be near the top actually. But one thing in particular feels kind of off. And that thing is how easily she broke things off with Klaus to be with Ted. Like, come on! You were together for 8 years and you feel no remorse for just leaving him at the wedding? It makes me wonder if she would do the same to Ted. Not saying it would 100% happen, but it's something to think about. Alright, aside from that, he dated Jeannette, and it's already well established how I feel about her. But aside from that, Barney and Robin's marriage really messed him up. Oh, and it's not just, oh, he still had feelings for Robin. Sure, it might have been one of the reasons, but I believe there's a bigger one. Now, Marshall and Lily's relationship always affected him a bit as well. Mostly because of how they're doing everything Ted's ever wanted in life at a faster and easier pace. But at the very least, Ted always had Barney. Someone who was very against marriage and kids for the longest time. So at least he was never alone. But now that's different. Now he's the best man. And on top of that, it's to someone he used to date as well. And now all he can do is act happy as all his best friends seem to be moving past him, evident in the Time Travelers. As someone who's always had a fear of people moving on and forgetting about me, this moment hits really deep. And this makes all the more sense to why Ted wants to move to Chicago. Ted in Season 8 is pretty comparable to Ted in Season 4. Wait, but at least he got his building. Until Barney ruined it. Why couldn't he just do it another day? So yeah, it's not looking good for a guy Ted right now. But let's see how exactly everything will change between Barney, Marshall, Robin, Lily, and Ted in the final season. Well, this is it, everyone. One more season to go. So stick around just for a bit longer. Check out all the other seasonal reviews if you haven't already in the playlist over here. Alright, that about does it. Thank you everyone for watching. This is the glass half full. And I'll see you next time.